wonderful.
I'm going to section this video into separate chapters that will explain all the functions and strategies I've discovered so far in Floras workshop. To start off, I will guide you on what to do the first time you load into the game mode, and after that I will go into all the details. On your screen now, you should see the different chapters, so you can skip through to whichever section you want in this video for more information. I will also put some pictures at the end of the video that you can pause and look at, and these pictures are going to show you everything you need for all of the different house upgrades, which stations that produces which items, and also the amount you can sell different items for. Credit to Demon for all of these pictures. Chapter 1. Opening the board. This is how it should look if you have opened Floras Workshop for the first time and have clicked through the tutorial. Before we go into more details, just follow along with me on how we open up the board and remove all of the cobwebs. Firstly, we are going to combine these items to make our production stations. With these production stations, you can click on them to consume 1 bread, and then you will gain 1 piece of resource out on your board. If you click on the production station and see to your right, you can click on the information icon, the small circle with an eye in the middle. This is going to tell you which resources you will get from this specific production station. You can do the same with the resources on your board to see what they will upgrade to. Now look around on your board and see which resources you will need to drag on top of the cobwebbed resources so we can open our board. So let's do that before we continue to the next step. Now that we have cleared the entire board and removed all of the cobwebs, it should look something like this. Now let's get into everything step by step, and then you should be able to become a master in Floras Workshop. Chapter 2. Currencies. There are 3 different currencies: workshop coins, stonecraft or hearts, as most people call them, and bread. Let's start with coins. Coins are mainly used to upgrade your house that's sitting in the middle of the board. However, you can also use coins to buy more bank space, to store your items, or to buy more bread so you can produce more resources. The only thing you really want to use your coins on is upgrading your house. Buying some bank space whenever you need it is also fine. However, never buy bread with coins. It's just simply not worth it. There is only 2 ways of acquiring coins, and that's through completing the orders you have on your left side or selling the stuff on your board. In the early game, I advise you to not sell any of the items you have on your board and only acquire your coins from the orders on your left. Then we have stonecraft or the hearts. These ones will also be acquired by completing orders, but only from the standing orders and not the flash orders. You will also gain hearts passively from your main building, your house. The amount of hearts you get from your house increases with your house level. In level 1, you will only get 25 hearts every 12 hours, and house level at max, which is 20, will give you 255 hearts every 12 hours. So it's a significant increase. Hearts are the most important currency in Floras, because you can spend them to buy items for your account in the item store. This includes cores, Cloud Island resources, and loads more. Also, after buying out several rows in the item store, you are awarded with fantasy stars. These increases your progress towards rewards in the arcade, such as tons of gems, scrolls, and even pay-to-win artifacts. The last resource to mention is bread. This is sort of your stamina and is what allows you to craft items from the production stations. Bread is regenerated every 2 minutes. Previously, the game mode had only 100 bread as your maximum amount of bread you were able to store. However, DH Games recently updated this, and now you can store up to 720 bread. That means every 24 hours you will fill up this entire load of stamina. which concludes with the fact that you don't have to log in and do Floras more than once every day, depending a bit on what levels your production station's at and how many of them you have. Chapter 3, Orders. On the left side, you can see all of your orders. Whenever there is an item on your board that can be used to complete one of the orders, it will be green on the board and there's going to be a green check mark in the order section. There are two different orders, flash order and standing order. You never want to do the flash orders. Yes, they might be faster to just ship out and give you a small amount of coins, but they don't give any hearts and the amount of coins you gain is very, very small compared to the standing orders. So always work on completing the standing orders only. You can apply the same concept to orders as how you would apply to building heroes. Don't build wide. Try to complete 1 or 2 orders at a time, but not all of them at once. It will simply just delay your progress and you won't have the space. There are 2 orders you want to focus on first, as these will give you the highest amount of profits. It is the clothing ones, with the suits and the dresses. Whenever you complete one of these orders, you're going to get a new one that requires more or higher level items from the same category. But these orders will give you even more coins and hearts. So please focus on the clothing orders first. There is a specific trick to the clothing orders, but only the clothing orders. I'm going to mention this in the next chapter in the production stations. Chapter 4, Production Stations. There are 4 different production stations. The most important one is the sewing station, but then you also have the 3 others, the cat station, the field station, and the baking stations. You can drag 2 of the same production stations of the same level to upgrade them to a higher level, just like you would with your other items on the board. A higher level allows you to recharge more attempts on each station in total. It also drops you a higher level of resource that they produce. The different production stations also had different recharge times. The baking station is at 10 minutes, the cat station is at 1 hour, the field station is at 3 hours, and the sewing station is at 6 hours. The stations only recharges 10 attempts at a time. So when they are done with the 10 minutes on the baking stations or the 3 hours on the field stations, you only get 10 attempts and then it will take another 10 minutes or another 3 hours for the next 10 attempts. However, if you put your stations in your bag, this timer will pause. So I do not recommend putting your stations in the bag if they are not fully recharged. Based off of the different recharge timers, you don't need more than a certain amount of production stations. For the cooking station, you will only need 1 or 2 maxed out. The cat production station, you need only 3. For the field stations, you want 9. And for the sewing station, you want 18. The reason you want these specific numbers is because that allows you for the optimal progression every 24 hours with the bread maximum amount and the amount of productions you can do on each and every station. It allows you to use up your entire storage of bread while having exactly enough production attempts at every station. Also, in theory, you want to max out the level on all of your production stations except the sewing station one. But this is only in a specific scenario. Once you have completed all of the standing orders that involves the suits specifically, you will stop receiving these orders. Then and only then, when you don't have any more suit orders, that's when you want to acquire as many sewing stations that are only leveled up to 8 instead of level 10. Because when the sewing station is at level 8, it will have a way higher probability of dropping cloth instead of shirts. And the cloth is exactly what you need to finish the orders for skirts and dresses. So a level 10 sewing station will drop loads more of the shirts to upgrade your suits, and the level 8 sewing station will drop way more of the cloth to upgrade your skirts and dresses. And these are 2 different orders. Chapter 5. The main building or the house, and also the bag space on your right. By clicking your house and looking at this menu on the right side, you can check your house details. Opening the detail panel will show you what you are going to get from your house every 12 hours and also what you need to upgrade it. To claim the rewards your house has generated, click on the second tab on the right. This will give you a chest and some hearts. The chest will contain production station components that you can combine to upgrade your stations even further. The chest can also drop bread, which you can use to replenish your stamina. My strategy for the house is to complete standing orders until I have enough coins to upgrade it. Only after I get the required amount of coins is when I start to focus on the items that I need to upgrade the house. After I upgraded the house, I just rinse and repeat this process, get the amount of coins you need for upgrades by doing the standing orders, then you get the items needed to upgrade the house, then you start doing standing orders again, get coins, upgrade the house, rinse and repeat. If you go out of the house again and navigate the tabs where we clicked for house details, we can go into the second tab where your bag space is located. I prefer to put all the items that I max out, apart from the production stations, in the bag storage. Chapter 7. Visits or the equipment selection. The equipment selection, or the visit button as it is named, allows you to choose between 3 different actions to help boost your progression. These equipments are called Swordsman's Glove, Mana Cube, and Mystical Hourglass. The only way to gain these are when you produce items with your stations. The equipment will randomly drop and have a pretty low drop rate. The hands down best equipment out of these 3 are the Mana Cube. We're going to start out with explaining the Swordsman's Glove. This allows you to go onto another player's workshop and copy 3 of their items randomly. I specifically use the word copy as many players believe it will steal away their items. This is not correct. Your items cannot disappear or get stolen, so it only copies another player's item. Before you copy their items, you need to complete a small memory game which is quite easy to complete. Use this equipment whenever you see fit. There is no specific strategy to apply to the Swordsman's Glove. The Mana Cube. This one also allows you to go onto another player's workshop and copy 5 of their items. However, what makes this so much better than the Swordsman's Glove is the fact that you can freely choose 5 parts of the other player's board instead of it being chosen at random. When you copy someone else's item with the Mana Cube, it also freezes that item on their board and forces them to either combine or spend hearts to unfreeze it. It doesn't really impact your progress in any way, so we don't really care about this. But this is an explanation to why sometimes your items also might get frozen. That means another player has Mana Cubed your island. There are some different strategies to how you want to use the Mana Cube. Whenever you see a house in this specific position, which is the default position that the house spawns in before the game is opened, you want to steal this location and this location. The last 3 locations you can choose at random wherever. I like to spread them out in the corners. The reason we do it like this at the default house is because if the player has never opened Floras before, you are guaranteed to get 2 level 6 sewing cases, which can be combined into a level 7 sewing station. This is very valuable. However, when the house is not in this position and is another random place at the board, I usually go for 2 squares right next to the house and then 3 corners. My best tips for the Mana Cube when you see that the house is not in the default position is just to think, where would you put your most valuable items, and then you try to click on those squares and see whatever you get. This can be a bit random, sometimes you have very good RNG and sometimes it's not that good. The last equipment is Mystical Hourglass. When using this, you will have to play a minigame where you are supposed to collect bananas for points and dodge bombs. The more bananas you collect, the better your reward is. The reward that you get from this minigame is decreasing the cooldown of your production stations. So if one of your stations is on a cooldown, you can use this to decrease the amount of time you have to wait to start using that station again. It ranges from 0% decrease of your station, you will just get a server error message if you hit 0 points. Anywhere between 1 to 50 points, it's going to decrease the cooldown by 5%. 100 to 299 points decreases the cooldown 10%. And lastly, if you get 300 points and above, it will decrease the cooldown 20%. That means if you manage to get 300 points 5 times in a row, you will completely remove the cooldown on all of your crafting stations and gain 10 attempts on all of them. This is of course with the prerequisite that they were all on cooldown beforehand. The Mystic Hourglass will mostly be used when you don't have a lot of crafting stations and want to grind the game mode. Personally, I'm at a point where I have enough crafting stations that I never need to use the Mystical Hourglass. Chapter 7. Tips and tricks. After a while, once you have played this game mode a lot, you will notice that the Swordsman's gloves, unless you're using them every time instantly, will start to stack up and you will gain a lot of them. Personally, I then like to skip every person that I face that is under level 100. Usually they haven't really done any of the workshop and the probability of you stealing or copying very good items is very low. I don't really want to spend my time on that, so that's why I always focus on using the Swordsman's Glove only if I hit players above level 100. When your items have been frozen by the mana cube, do not unfreeze them until it's 100% a chance that you're going to use them. You can only have 5 items at max be frozen every reset, and that means if someone also freezes your same items the next reset, they are not going to be frozen if they are already frozen. So waiting to unfreeze your items until you're going to use them is smart, because then there is a higher probability that more of your items are not going to get frozen. There are specific items that are produced by the production stations that will give you sort of a tiny production station also. This comes out of the max flower, a maxed out rose, and also the sardine box that you get at level 4 from the cat stations. Each of these have 10 uses before they disappear. A trick you can do with this is use 9 of the uses and then you can deliver them into an order. Because even if it's just one use, they still have the same function, and they disappear at the 10th use. So if you need them for an order, but you still need to produce the items that they have, use it 9 times and combine it, or 9 times and then send it off in an order. If you have 2 level 1 chests or level 2 chests, and both of them have 1 attempt left, you can combine them to the next level of chest, and it will save both attempts, so essentially you don't gain an attempt, but you get 2 attempts on a higher leveled chest. This can net you a higher chance of getting better bread for more stamina. And lastly, if you steal production stations that you don't have the need for, or items that you can no longer turn in for standing orders, you can just sell them. They will give you a decent amount of coins, and when you sit on a bunch of sewing stations and you don't need more, getting a maxed one sells for 500 coins, and that's quite a lot. And to end of this guide, I just want to give a very brief summary of what we want to do in Floras Arcade. Focus on completing only standing orders and prioritize orders with clothing. Focus on preferably 1 order at a time. Always work on upgrading your house when you can, and remember sewing machines, they are key. Stack as many as you can. And lastly, consistency. Keep on grinding this game mode and you will eventually master Floras Workshop.